In Matthew 25:14-30, Jesus tells the parable of the talents. A wealthy man who decides to go on a long journey. Before he leaves, he calls his 3 servants and entrusts each of them with a different amount of his wealth, called talents, a significant sum of money in those days. He gives 5 talents to the first servant, 2 talents to the second, and 1 talent to the third, based on each servant's abilities. The first servant, eager to make the most of what he's been given, invests his 5 talents and earns 5 more, doubling his amount. The second servant also goes to work, investing his 2 talents and earning 2 more. Both are excited, knowing they've done well with what was entrusted to them. But the third servant, fearful of losing his master's money, decides to play it safe. Instead of investing his talent, he digs a hole in the ground and hides the money, making sure it's secure but doing nothing to grow it. After a long time, the master returns and calls the servants to settle accounts. The first servant, proud of his efforts, comes forward and says, "Master, you gave me 5 talents. See, I have earned 5 more." The master is delighted and says, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master." The second servant steps forward and says, "Master, you gave me 2 talents, and I have earned 2 more." Again, the master is pleased, praising his work and promising even greater responsibilities, saying, "Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your master." Then the third servant approaches, but instead of excitement, he has fear in his eyes. He says, "Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here, you have what is yours." The master is disappointed and frustrated. He responds, "You wicked and lazy servant. If you knew I reap where I have not sown, you should have at least put my money in the bank so it could earn interest." The master then takes the 1 talent from the third servant and gives it to the first servant, who now has 10. Finally, the master says, "To everyone who has, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But for those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away." The unfaithful servant is cast out, showing how those who fail to use their gifts miss out on blessings. Jesus teaches that we are given unique talents, opportunities, and resources, not to hide or hold back, but to use and grow. The parable reminds us that God values faithfulness, courage, and commitment. When we step forward and use our gifts, we not only honor God, but also open ourselves up to even greater blessings.